Masakazu Katsura boy. To think that's such a one. With both hands on the wall of the mansion, we hold out the down and feet. Good fat Katsura-kun of sumo players is a stepping stone of the piggyback is perfect. In the next, is one boy of moderate physique. Climbing to Katsura-kun of the back, put his foot on top of the shoulder. If you previously only with the hand on the wall, now has Hashiba-kun and nimble to climb the futari shoulder like a monkey. It was multiplied by the feet to the secondary th of the boy's shoulder. The aim of time, up to now, and a boy of Katsura-kun and 2 th that had bowed back. Crew jerk body, then, Hashiba-kun face on the most is just to reach the corner of the bottom of the second floor window. As if it is a trick? Such as acrobatics. Detective members we had to practice on a daily basis to prepare the case of emergency. This kind of thing. Hashiba is over a hand on the window frame. We accept the inside of along with the room, but the windows had curtains down. Though it is a big gap, the room of a state has been looked to take in hand. There was what exactly? Did not for some time expected, but Mr. Hashiba in strange sight in the room is compromised, was about to make up in voice. In the middle of the room, the Indian who was the horrible face of Vakami was sitting. Black of skin color, his black eyes glowing in eerie white, very thick waiting red lips. Dressed also as it is the Indians see in the picture. Well, that turban on his head, wrapped a white cloth his round and round hat te. Speaking of clothes, a large furoshiki like a white cloth you lowered from the shoulder. The Indian in front of the wall takes a picture of somehow demon like a horrible Buddha. On top of the front of the stand you wore a big incense burner smoke purple. Indians of the two of while sitting towards the wall of the Buddha. Or we worship the partition. Perhaps, Kobayashi, a boy in a green chan. It may be that trying to kill prayer in the power of magic. While looking back has become cold and so. I wonder if this is of a Tokyo event. By chance. Even to the terrible magic of the country. I wonder not it's wandered. To Hashiba it is too much of you poor. Was the other. Does not feel that except. And send a hurry cues. As crouching in futari under. I stood down to the ground. Then, in 6 people of boys coming remarks the face in the darkness. In a whisper, reported a room of state. I'm finally going. On top that had an Nani fallen badge. If they're Indians of futari, here, are determined to fellows of the den. Well, with us delving into the individual home, or do not you catch the guy of Indians? No, then it is Naku Dasa help Kobayashi leader in Green Chan. Wait for the Pearl River, do not prematurely. Hold the boys whispering unanimously. Mr. Shoichi Katsura, he told me gravely. No matter how large the tax, with us only of power. The Indians like a witch that I cannot be captured. If it because it is very once botched. So I, in accordance with all of my orders, the department Pearl River Woo. Quote, Katsura is saying so. Who is front gate? Who is back gate? Who and who? Like that anywhere in the garden. Surrounds the building. We have orders to serve the beam scene in boys. If, when you see Indians secretly escape to, immediately, I'm blowing the whistle, mind you. I then, Shinazaki-kun, because you are running is good at, do not you served the role of messenger. This I ran up to where there is close to the phone. I make a phone call to your house, because I found a den of criminals. I immediately please come. In the meantime, we are seen here if you are the beam, because never not coconut escape the guys. Quote, Katsura-kun of the leader instead of the usual was given snappy, a command shrewdly. Shinazaki-kun, answer, alright, after all while allowing crawling on the ground, waiting for the standing monkeys. The 6 people that remains is divided into each of the departments, will be to monitor the mansion from 4 more directly below. However, In between doing that, I think that would drown Kobayashi-kun. Water is I think things like become full to the ceiling of the basement. Possibly. You might not in time. Oh, early, policeman us. Please rushed quickly. By then Shinozaki-kun of the news. Just Awashi stayed Shinozaki House. The Metropolitan Police Department of Nakamura Investigation Chief. Taking along the subordinates of several people. Skip the car. Until the rush to European-style building. About 20 minutes time has passed. Oh, that the wait etc. was close. But, boy posse from picking up Seisho badge. You have standing is another full 1 hour. That is from the Kobayashi-kun is out Swimobu, the Green Chan. It's just the time has gone of. Oh, the two of. Or will there still be safe? Much trouble when the police officer who was rushed. Either would not then was too late. Knowing that the cops arrived, Katsura boy went fledgling out of the darkness. To Nakamura, chief, the culprit is still no difference in being in the building. Everyone fled once did not. It reported that Nakamura, chief of, keep and praise hands grounds of Katsura Mr. Us. Turn the futari of subordinates on the back of the building. Yourself, in accordance with the uniformed police officers of futari, and go up to the porch. It was to press the button of suddenly called forest. Twice, 3 times, and the button is pressed. Internal to Tamori the package and the electric lamp. In the footsteps of the people. The door handle was movement. Oh, also truly Indian, is finally luck of luck. The visitor does not know even the policeman horrible, and come to pick out unconcernedly. Nakamura, chief of, being in the building. Because what you are listening to the only Indian futari. At the same time the door is opened. In Odorikan, if you hit Horayo the criminal, had been waiting clutching a policeman's rope. However, the door that stood there in open packages, surprisingly, rather than the black Indians, was a gentleman of the smart Japanese dye from the show. Or the time of year will about 30 years old. The fair-skinned face fit. Beautiful gentleman of yelling borrowed thin mustache, with a crease, wearing a good suit clothes of the cuckoo. We have seen here laughing smile. You are Nakamura, chief of taken aback by asked that strange. I think called Haruki of individual master. Was pleased do well it. In fact, I was thinking what to be by phone from the better of me. It is increasingly surprising words. And the truly of police inspector. Such as was also pinched even in Fox face. In this house, you should have the Indians of futari. And I could not help not Kuchigamora. Oh, you people are. And the other. Do I you know to be Indian? I ate Saraga. Do not know that such a villain. I had to lend the room. But, then, whether the Indians of the two of it was a tenants of the nerd. That's right, but well, please enter you're here. Let's happy to detailed talk. Gentlemen, while so good, so we will go to stand ahead toward the back. And Nakamura chief, the police officers of futari, while suspicious, was somehow follow after them. It's here. I was able to save both futari safely. Terlai another pair late. Was a poor free of life Toko. Gentlemen, again, to say that, not gibberish, and opens the door of the phrase room. We did invite the cops. Nakamura, chief clerk for after the gentleman. One step, and I think I stepped in the room. I could not help not be surprised with a start to the surprising sight. Look, in the corner of the bed's inner room, Green-chan was Katawikasa's, or does not have sleeping and peacefully. Its pillow original chair. Kobayashi boy is dressed adult nightgown. In a strange cuckoo. Not a seated. This is hell. You of what was? Nakamura, chief of cried been taken aback. It's why? Gentleman is recommended a chair-in-chief. I began to talk about the private university of Thing. I now, in the cock and futari kiri of the hireling. But I have a single life. Today is not to go out in the morning. And let's back with the just. I do not nobody in the house. if there are no Indian people who are lending the second floor of the room. We do not see even the figure of cock. When would happen to on top and try to find a house thought to distrust. But I was able to find a cock in the last corner of the kitchen. In that it was surprised. That was bound hand and foot. It has been fit to gag. Doing by solving the Nawa. If you ask how, the second floor of the Indians came back from somewhere, I called together to suddenly such order. No, you do not have a justice. 'Tis says the cock. Indians seems to have returned with her somehow small children, and I think the child that it would be tossed into the basement. To the just, I most would have been faintly hear the children cry. I surprised, and tried to immediately go to the basement. Would be that what? Basement is not like it in the water is full like a tank. Therein, boy that this Kobayashi-kun is not that have to swim obu, a small daughter. Any more force the moon. It is the state likely drowned in now. I, of course, but was raised salvation immediately futari. More of a small daughter is, because the thing that has issued a severe heat. Thus we are mesmerized to bed. Then, in the story of the Kobayashi-kun, because I know any of the circumstances, I, and the daughter of geek, to the police, to the place that is about to place a phone call. Just say that you it is. With us in it is. Quote, was finished listening to Nakamura chief of with a sigh relieved. Did sa. No, thanks to you. To be able to save the lives of Futari was above all. However, Indians, I would not have certainly. Enough. How did you find this? Although I tried looking enough. It should be noted that in order just in case. But I think you should have you search on your side of your power. Let's examine again. So the chief is Yobi are also policemen of Futari, which had been turned to the back door. And the 5 people is division of labor. Press person Iwazu, ceiling in Iwazu, even under the floor, but was searched without a place to remain. The figure of people in India was not found anywhere. There is no other that quite strange, from except for the boy upstairs window Hashiba. Police up to get, in between just 20 a few minutes. The Indians of the 2 of it had vanished like a smoke. The outside of the building. 6 boys detective members have had the attention department nuclear scene beams Indians. Why was able to escape his eyes? No, guys is the witch of Shinpen wonder. Needless to go out of the building. In that the second floor of the room. While cast a spell of something. Then you may have vanished with the smooth stop. Readers gentlemen, the black demon is in the cemetery of Yo Minamoto Terra. Then once again, in Shinizaki House Garden, would you remember that you've hidden the figure to drown out? Even now, it is the same miracle same has been carried out, is only for the Indians of this Futari. It may be that the principles of physics do not apply. Of course, Nakamura, chief of immediately reported this to the Metropolitan Police Department, the police station of Tokyo whole city, but was to arrange for Indians arrested by the police, even after 1 day or 2 days. Kai Indians nowhere represents the appearance did not. It is not just disappeared at something or flight surgeon of across the sea. I think we had long ago returned to their home country. 4 of mystery. Setagaya 2 days later the Indians had vanished in the European-style building. A catchy name detective had a business trip to the Tohoku region for detective incident. Came back to resolve the defense well incident to the Tokyo office. Her return home. Detective not even try to Yasume yo the fatigue of travel. Call the assistant Kobayashi boy to study. Was listening to reports in the absence. Kobayashi-kun. It was to recover the other completely healthy. If you listen, Green-chan be taken also heed from the next day. Beside the father-mother. Is that playing good mood? When Kobayashi you are looking at the face of the teacher Akechi. As it has been long awaited. That of the mysterious Indian incident. Reported in detail. Teacher. I do not know what is somehow refreshing. But, as everyone says, that Indians do not believe I was using magic. Something. In our wisdom, there is a secret so as not to fall short, though would not it? Teacher, please let me know. I had been itching to hear your thoughts of early teacher. Quote, Kobayashi-kun, a teacher Akechi. Are you wondering something like if to Almighty God, in this world, my God, you do not know the teacher? I believe that it is not impossible. Yes, I also read the newspaper on the road. It has sometimes had some thinking. So, even if urged as you, is not something that can be immediately reply. While Akechi detective laughed, in Tarakan to comfort a chair with a jerk, a combination of the long leg, and began smoking a favorite Egypt tobacco. This is a habit of when you think of the things deeply Akechi detective. 1, 2, 3. Tobacco becomes a moment ash. Purple smoke and Egypt tobacco Orion is now drifting to fill the room. Oh, so, the Pearl River came a little here. Suddenly, the detective got up from the chair, went to the Tokyo map that is affixed to one wall of the room, was beckoning Kobayashi boy, because Yo Minamoto Terra is, it's there any around here on Kobayashi, you are closer to the map, we point to exactly that location. Then, Shinozaki-kun of the house? Kobayashi-kun also showed that location. It still is my imagined. Kobayashi-kun, I wonder if this is understood what it means. You know, the Yo Minamoto Terra and Shinozaki house. To different also the name of the town, but feels like a way badly. It's stuck in the back, it's in the state of this map. During it too, Sangenia, but there may be. Not apart from the tens of meters. Quote, detective, it means hair to smile something. We watched the Kobayashi-kun. Oh, yes. I also since then. Table that still had inadvertently is like what's another town. I thought is farther away. But, sir, it is or you mean? It does. But do not know me well. Quote, it's not anything. Let me to see. Homework well thought. Well, detectives say so. Back to the original comfort chair. Also it was crowded, leaning too deeply. By the way, Kobayashi-kun, it is in many respects, such as cannot explained by common sense in this case. Do not you let us enumerate one item this of the first division of the detective science. First, in the case after picking out a strange point, it is possible to try to give a variety of interpretation. In this case, first black demon to the first is represents the figure at Grenard in Tokyo. I was terrified everyone, the criminal, on earth if there is anything you need. I wonder was the Anna tomfoolery, the purpose of this time of the crime, and to steal the jewel of Shinozaki house. But I do a thing to kidnap a girl called Green Chan. Black demon is appearing in Grenard, if or written in the newspaper. These black people, species. And please beware, do not you like such as to alert the other party from it. Still, black monster is getting closer to gradually Shinozaki home, where she still has to imitate, such as show off in various ways. Then, the human differences, to Futari, are over Katawakashi the elsewhere girl, that the gem is in the Shinozaki home, through seeing properly. All the way to prepare deliberate criminal enough to go out from India. I wonder that there is such omission. Girl named Green Chan, about whether you are the kind of face, if not a thing in advance seems to have examine. Kobayashi-kun, you are, such as the point is. I do not think that it is somehow strange. I wonder if unexpected and add up is not fit. Quote, yes, I am. Such a thing but did not think any until now. It is really strange. He is. I am such Indians. To say to this kind of kidnapping. Have been advertising their own it is like. Quote, Kobayashi-kun, the first time noticed there. And a face like I was surprised. I looked up at the teacher. If would be so. Culprit is usually the thing as much as possible hide. Do not you have ads on this C is. Kobayashi-kun. I guess the meaning is understood. Detectives say so, but I smiled a strange smile. Kobayashi and the kun, that you started to think of the teacher. Because the thing which is not even know a little, The smile was even felt somehow more bad. Thought second. It is strange that the Indians had banished his Sukai ninjutsu. Once in the cemetery of Yo Minamoto-tera, once in the garden of Shinizaki House, and then again at the mansion of Edogawa. This is another. You around it? That night. The Western-style thing to know is good. But say that as a child of 6 boys Tantidan had ha look? The look Hari is, I guess, was a certainly seen inadvertently. It would not have things like Miss. Quote, it is Katsura-kun. I say never omission was not. Everyone but his elementary school. Because it is quite firm people. I think that I also want to credit. It was the look out of the front gate, the flame that if was a child. Katsura and kun, I tell you longer alone Ohara you. I'm head also Futari. So, that the two of, I did not say that saw the master of the mansion is coming back that Haruki. Teacher. Yes. I dying and mysterious. The two of you that did not see the comeback of Mr. Haruki. Everyone is still in between. The Indians are on the 2nd floor. Department of Hari seen each because I was attached to. The Mr. Haruki came back. You do not have a difference in later than that. So, I had to really go through the front of the Katsura-kun us. No way I do not have should my husband home from the back door. Moreover, even members had been saw the back door. Are you saying that nobody did not pass? Quote, Poon. It becomes more and more interesting. No you is the wonder. Did not speak to how people of the police are interpreted. Quote, it seems he is Katsura-kun was talking to Mr. Nakamura. But Nakamura I do not trust because the Indians that came was overlooked even the escape. Notice that the incoming Mr. Haruki of the was no I do not wonder. Something to say of the children. I think that it is not deceptive. Quote, Kobayashi-kun, I did say a little bit of resentment Omamochi. Ha ha ha, that's funny. Because as the Indians they came not even notice was went out. I would do was overlooked also the incoming Mr. Haruki of. Ha ha ha, Akechi detective for some reason, laughed badly interesting. By the way you guess I was Dasa help from the basement to Mr. Haruki. Of course, I would have a good look at Haruki's. No way my Indians are not you had in disguise. Yes, of course there is no such a thing. Super Naden was the color of Japanese skin. Face powder or in something. Does not it as made in that way. Long between because I was in with the room. It's okay even if affirmed. Quote, even in the police then I would have studied only grounds of Haruki-san. Yes, that's right was investigated. And, in addition we found that there is no doubt. Haruki-san. I lived also another in March in that mansion. Both policemen in the neighborhood of alternating I'm a familiar face. Law I also policeman. It is more and more interesting. Akechi detective is the countenance that eyeing is something pleasant. Now, the next is a third question. It is you are in the temple of Shinizaki who, when trying to catch a car with her green chan, me opened the doors that secretary of Amai. At that time, I wonder if you saw clearly the face of Amai-kun. Quote, oh, it was so. Until it is said to the teacher. I had inadvertently. Yes. I saw clearly the face of Mr. Amai. Indeed, it was Mr. Amai. It is. Automobile shortly after starts to move. Nanti become Anna stagehand. I wish strange. More than anything else. It is the most mysterious. Quote, however, in the meanwhile, the Amai-kun, had been tied to the cemetery of Yo Minamoto-tera, and whether Amai-kun does not mean became Futari. Well, it may be better. Such as 3 people, cemetery and Amai-kun had been rolling in, opened the car door, then an Amai-kun, which got into the passenger seat, and Amai-kun became stagehand during running of the automobile. It because 3 people together. Quote, yes, that's right. I do not know the reason at all. It seems that somehow dreaming. The Kobayashi-kun. Thus while you are talking to Akechi detective, wonder if this incident, we have found more and more clearly. It is not even healthy to belittle the other magic. Kobayashi-kun himself. It was the feeling, such as those suffering from the magic might of true character. Kobayashi-kun looked and began to think. It is in the car. You are? I guess I did not see the Indians of the Neko Futari. I guess I did not see the driver and the passenger of the neck that are peeled over there. Detective also asked, that's strange. I nape of the neck, do you place here? Kobayashi-kun was amazed by holding the back of his ear. That's right, I guess I did not see the color of the skin of the side. Now, it did not notice. Oh, Futari both are wearing badly Amitabha the Toriuchibo. Something behind the ear did not look not at all. Good. You had in mind quite well. So I'm good. Now, the next is a fourth question. That or the culprit did not kill the Green Chan, why? But that, for example, it was. You guys was going to kill course. I was going to become drowned together to me. But did not Detective also was mice laughing and meaning hair in a smile. Visit. India people think, well, but was tied to cook. Or nodded against the Haruki's husband did not do anything of the available. Haruki-san have to go out. I always do not know go home. Then, listen to me if cock of the report back. The guys in the basement. I'm not might begin to help. When you have helped Dasa or Precious struggle, there is no awaja of water. Does not even care about like in. Not delivery also seen less moment of Green Chan. Nanti would escape. Come to think of it, as compared with that obsession subordinates of. Or not a big oversight is funny. In fact, in this way, has survived also Kimi Momodori-chan because I'm. For what the Indian people. What was the difficulty of just there? Or is not, it will not know why though. Kobayashi-kun, I guess can be seen. This meaning, it is criminal. Nanny willing to kill the Green Chan. I did not if any. Ha, is not funny. It was everybody you play. Quote. Detective also began to laugh, Fisher else pleasant. But in Kobayashi-kun, you its meaning do not know any. On earth teacher wonder I Rasharo what you think. When I think of it, it seemed somehow become afraid. Now, Kobayashi-kun, see solve this 4 of the question. Once in toy no doubt this with 4M know the secret of this time of the incident. Does not mean I also solved it completely. The future it must try to make sure is. I've got a variety. However, now me is hidden on the back of this incident. The identity of the ghost that is chuckled. I'm vaguely visible. But are smiling. Really to the identity of the ghost. I'm the scaring. If, to think that when my imagination is hit, he's scared about a bleeding fat sweat. Quote. A catchy detective become a Hajoni serious face, voice even lower, could say or else the fear likely. When you look at that face, Kobayashi it is so, and down my spine has become cold. Somehow the monster is, to say the bar from behind. It even feels like flies out. By the way you, Kobayashi-kun, but I sometimes want you to another remember. I was saying that you were a little while ago. Had a good look at the face of Haruki's. At that time, by chance you are. Detectives say up there. Remarks the mouth suddenly Kobayashi-kun of the ear. Whispered in everything or whispering. Edge, what is? And hear it, Kobayashi boy's face has become a deep blue. No way, such a thing is. Kobayashi-kun, as was seen in the really haunted, so that even prevents the ghost comes attacked. Spread out in front of both hands. Was the Otojasari. No. Good to Naku, so afraid. This is. I'm not maybe because of my mind. But I come to think well of the 4 questions that were raised now. Everyone is pointing to the one point I seem to. But, until try to make sure. Do not say anything. I wonder if I'm in one of today. Was once. I'm going to try to meet with Haruki-san. Haruki's phone number? Quote. Then, a catchy detective to examine the phone book. It did make a phone call to Haruki, he said. Words that reader's gentleman, the named detective, whispered to the Kobayashi-kun of the ear. Exactly. Wood was the kind of thing. Kobayashi-kun heard of it. Why? Will show the fear of so much. A catchy detective. If we solve the 4 questions, we say that it reached the natural, its terrible conclusion. Gentleman is. Would be fun. Also, wilt thou see preaching the mystery to attempt. However, now the mystery is quite complicated, because the answer is too surprising. I think that would not melt so much and comfortably. The next chapter is a scene that will melt of the mystery. And it is haunted, such as chilling, is the scene that represents the identity. Neck of the Upside Down. A catchy detective, to master Haruki's European-style building that had lent the room to the Indian futari. So say I want to various asked to meet once. Immediately over the phone, he said, if you asked a convenience. Daytime is a little permissible because there was a reply that please come around 7 o'clock at night. Detective, when you finish the promise of the phone. I immediately went out the office. Up to meet Haruki said. Was that because sometimes you want to have various investigated as well? Kobayashi boy, by all means, please take me together. And although I was asked, you are? Because it will not yet tired is healed. I have ordered a number away. Then a catchy detective, wherever you go, what you did, because it is high time soon seen to readers gentlemen. Not noted here. The 7 o'clock in the evening. From where the detective asked the mansion of Mr. Haruki. Let's continue to talk. Mr. Youth Gentleman Haruki is welcomed out to the front door on your own. If you look at the face of a catchy detective, and a smile, or else while the joyful, I please do well it, please prestigious is, we have for some time heard, someday, but had been once Omanakaka and I would like happy to talk to propose. Nanti give us bother ask. Do not be so happy. Come on, please. And I was guided to the 2nd floor of a fine drawing room. The 2 of, across the table, but was subjected to a chair. To the place that the first meeting of greeting. Servant wearing a coat of white samiri of about 30 years old. Has been carrying a cup of tea. And I lost my wife. I'm lonely, is to say that the family. In this Kaken Futari Kiri. Because what the house is too wide. With or lend the room to Anna Indian people something. Too terrible because I met. But, because the thing that brought a definite letter of introduction. I have to with credit. Quote, Haruki said, a review of the standing monkey cock. While following in the eye, could say to excuse. In the wake of it, a catchy detective has finally entered the business. Actually, the fact of that night, from your mouth to yourself. I want to ask well. I came was I, but, somehow, for no Funichi is, Indian they came, disappeared in between slight and thing had, the other. But would you know, we have now, the children have made the innocent detective team. That night, Nakamura, chief us, before about 20-minute rush here. The children, what room do? That there are Indians of Futari on the 2nd floor of here. Properly, it had been confirmed. It is faster than the cops when you became in your way. And the other, of that had gone on in the house. Is not that quite strange? In the meantime, 6 people of the children, around the nerd, he had continued to Genju a look at the beam. Front gate, of course, but by overcoming the even or the fence from the back gate. If the Indians ran away, you should not be able to escape the eyes of children. Quote, then Haruki Mr. nodded. Yes, I also. The point is not there a way a quite strange. 8 Surawa, something we cannot even imagine. I think we had knows how be as of witchcraft. If, indeed, we mice was a kid evil expression that seems. However, the other one, I is there. Or something weird. You've made your way back. I was between from sure that the children there are Indians. Until the police come. Then, the other at that time. Children, properly seen you hurry such should have been with the department. But, you will of course became to enter your from the front gate. Quote, yes, we entered from the front gate. At that time, the front gate, futari of the children had a turn. The children, in the place of one gatepost now see, Itayu stood as sentinels. Law. Really? I did not at all noticed. Just then, I might be the children had gone aside. In a place such as Genjua, look at Hari. Of elementary school students, after all, you cannot afford, even since the thing. It will not be relied on. Quote. However, it will not be a fool such thing as a child becomes intently to something as adults, so it does not think about the other. In such case, the credit is better for children than adults. I think that is definitive. Today, before you ask here, but I've finished a variety of requirements, even to try to meet children who served as the gatekeeper. It was one of the requirements. Then, when you try well kakitadashi, the child is, you never did not leave the post. Haru said he did not even inattentive children, so it does not lie. Quote. In the one child, he said he saw my appearance. No, I that did not see. That entered the gates as well. Even those out, I assert that it alone was also no. Akechi detective, say so, was staring at the beautiful face of staring Haruki said. Oh my god, then it seems to me is used in somehow magic. This is funny. Ha ha ha. Haruki Mr. Somehow was the awkward laughter how. Ha ha ha. Akechi detective as well, or else amused look on her, but laughed in unison. In his voice, something sharp like a thorn had been included. What to the pull of? For example, add to. Is this means as you can see? Then, is it will be to the original as expected. Addition and simple subtraction. Detective remains were said to be something like mystery. It was also moved to talk to another. By the way, today, at the cemetery in Shinozaki House backyard of Yo Minamoto-tera, I found a funny thing. I think what it is. I'm a missing hole in the narrow underground connecting between them. The Yo Minamoto-tera and Shinozaki House. To street name are different. Front gate but you away badly. In the back separated by a perforated area of about 10 meters. I hope to say that if I were stuck, the guy of Indians, this, a little thinking that have Joni far, I was using the human misunderstanding. Then, there to make the underpass without divided. It was my using the magic that disappears of that smoke. The cemetery of Yo Minamoto-tera, and I'll have a trapezoidal stone of the old stone tower. To the entrance of the gaping underpass beneath it had been love. Is more of Shinozaki's garden. Put a thick plate on top of the hole. The soil that fly grass to each human on the plate was as put. Then glance. Is not there a difference even a little with other ground? Nearby with holes. It has a variety of trees lush. From dark to as pale. Is not that what good camouflage? The Indians, when they vanished in the cemetery, crowded escape from the underpass to Shinozaki House. When you stole the jewel of Shinozaki family. After all, through this road, they had missing toward the Yo Minamoto-tera's ground of both is Edogawa's. Because I'm a town like different. There is no Wakariko. Ha ha ha. This is the magic of seeds. Testimony of the Indians. Quote. While you are listening, in the face of Haruki said, the color of the great surprise came to mind. But, as by force Oshikaku sue it. But, for the sake of only steal the jewelry. Why I guess was a mechanism that consuming such trouble. Is not that something more easily there do means likely? If, as the twit, it was reflective listening. Yes, as you mentioned thiefes. Are you over a period of wasteful labor? However, speaking of waste, is the more there is a bigger waste to the other. Haruki-san, there is a strange point of this incident. In addition, a very interesting point. Quote, Akechi detective, so that it is regrettable explain it. Cut the word, was looking at the face of the opponent. I referred to as a bigger waste if, it sounds, Indians become a stark naked, or mice swimming the Sumida River. The towns in Tokyo, with their mice wandering around. But it was troubled world. Then also, the children of around the same age as Shinazaki's young lady Chan. Even twice. Is that still deliberately wrong? Exactly for what? Will was Mize doing such useless things? For example, Mr. Haruki, you will what you think. Quote, now, I do not know I guess. In Haruki Mr. Pallid Face, he replied with a little fidgeting. Do not become, you can see. Well, let my name is my idea. It is I pirates wanted the ad. I'm such a black Indian people. I am up for Shinazaki house. I have been trying to sorrow the Miss Chan. And, toward the world. Yea, rather than public. Toward the husband of Shinazaki. Whether even this or even this. I wanted to inform told. Then, Mr. Shinazaki is Satewa. From the Indian's home. And do I came to the back to take the curse of jewelry. It was directed as Komu believe. I wonder why. Why such will was a ridiculous ad. If the Indians of the real his. If they came for revenge. Rather than advertising. So as not to be seen as much as possible appearance. Is not that supposed to break the bone so that it is not known to the public? In other words, what it is like other way around? Then, the answer is, must be still other way around. Quote, for example, I called the other way around if. Haruki said, was reflective listening as I was surprised. Just it did at that time. Word other way around in the conversation they came. As it is a form. Or does not appear to the outside of one of the windows of the room. In a corner of the top of the glass window. Pop the human face appeared. It is. As though hanging from the sky, S.A. headlong. That's the other way around. The man. From the darkness outside the glass window. Drop a hair underneath and Darin. In the hot flashes in red face. In the eyes of the upside down. We looked and staring the state in the room. Exactly why the human faces will it or come down from the sky. Indeed, do not you wonder? No, it then strange to be. Even looking at the face of the upside down outside of the glass as Haruki said. Is that was not surprised at all. It was that something like I rather base in the face. Then, the face of the upside down is signaled blink of to answer to it. Has disappeared as it is smooth stop toward the sky. Heck there would be nothing. Somehow, it is the face, such as just seen with the besto. That's right, yes, Icok that has hired the Haruki Mr. None Other. S. the servant who has carried the tea a little while ago. To be continued. Thank you for your viewing. If you like please subscribe to the channel. I am very encouraged.